I'm gonna pick a pirate,
Like and subscribe.
I'm gonna pick an instrument, and I can't help it, but I'm gonna pick an animal. Hi, my name is Todd Bright. I'm a senior concept designer here at Walt Disney Imagineering. I had my start with Disney in the Disney Animation Studios, where I did character animation. Today, we're gonna talk about creating our very own pirate for the Pirates of the Caribbean ride and how to approach that. Let's get started. For me, I can't help but get that song out of my head. So I'm like, well, I wanna make a musician pirate today, you know. In this certain section that I want to approach with you guys, we're gonna break down how I would start a drawing. This might be considered a rough drawing or a thumbnail drawing. And when I approach a figure, I like to start off with a gesture drawing. And gesture is basically finding the essence of a pose of your character. Pirates are always a little loopy, so you can have them being very loosey-goosey. The details will come later. Working in steps when you're drawing a character really does help. Sometimes you find stuff in a pose when you're trying to make it fun to use, and in this case, I'm gonna have a chicken right here on his back, okay? And he's singing, and I'm gonna like, oh yeah, I want the chickens to be singing. Let's do that. Okay, so from here, you could take your idea in your rough drawing and take it to a little further and get more details. So I'm gonna transfer my drawing to a nice watercolor paper and do some pen and ink and throw in some splashes of color, okay? So let's go. There's no rules on this, but I like to personally start with the head. That way if I screw anything up, I get to start over. I've been at this a long time, and I've found one of the most exciting things is it's not about making a great drawing, okay? It's like, oh, that toenail's off. You know, it's not about all of that stuff. What it is about is the right idea and making a great idea and making that come to life with your drawing later, okay? And practicing that, coming up with ideas, trying things out and being brave and taking chances. You're like, what are you talking about? How do I practice coming up with ideas? I find a great practice for coming up with ideas is actually going out and observing life, okay? Going and drawing people. You can draw at home, draw your family, draw your cat, whatever. And go out to the coffee shop, go out and observe. And you're gonna build up your skills of creating ideas. I've inked in my drawing and added some details and things like that. But now I'm gonna take it a step further and do some color, and you could add some more details. One thing I like to do, if any of you are jumping into some watercolor today, I'm getting out my kneaded eraser again, and I'm gonna knock out the rest of this pencil line. So I have a nice clean color when I start applying color. So once I got the big idea down, which was my guy singing, you know, and he's kind of floppy, and hanging out with the chickens or whatever. Once I get that down, then little sub ideas start happening, okay? So it's like, okay, there was cargo in this ship. This ship is broken in half. The cargo has spilled out and now it's floating around, you know? So little things like that add personality to your scene. I'm gonna pull out a little paint palette here, get it closer. I'm just gonna do some splashes today, guys. We're not gonna get into too much stuff. I'm gonna give my pirate a red nose and some red cheeks. Make him flush, right? I'm gonna apply some skin tone here. And I try not to treat it like paint by numbers. You know, if you've experimented with watercolor, there's some pretty amazing things you can do. Watercolor is also very, very tricky. Having some fun. Come on. This is not rocket science. What happened here is this very faint, probably can't see it too much, but I hit that wet on wet so those two colors would blend together with our watercolor. And now this is a little bit more dry. I'm gonna hit it again with a little bit more. And one thing I will say about watercolor, guys, is you wanna start from your light colors, and you go to dark. So you never start with your dark colors, okay? In oil painting, it's actually the opposite. You would start with more mediums and darks, and you build up with your lights. So keep that in mind if you're experimenting. So I'm gonna hit his hair. I'm gonna use this lighter color as a base. I actually kind of like it. It's kind of crazy looking. Maybe we'll leave it. That's the thing about art, right guys? It's like sometimes you have happy accidents and sometimes you have unhappy accidents, but you learn to bounce back. So you guys can keep going with details and things like that, and then you can start adding lighting and better shadows and stuff. I'm gonna give him a little 5 o'clock shadow. Do that with like a little bit of blue. You've probably seen something like that. Makes him look a little more scruffy looking. I'm gonna keep going here and finish up my pirates. I hope you had some fun today, and thanks so much for hanging out today.